Hi, I'm Millie. I'm a second year textile student at CSM, and this is how I spend a day in the studio. This is the print room, and then that's the print prep room next door. And then knit's just next to weave, so we're all quite close together in textiles. So it's slightly full in here. I'm glad I've got a big locker rather than a small locker. This is the life of a textile student. So this is the weave studio where we have the table looms and the jacquard loom. So I'm just chopping up this waste wadding that I found in the swap shop that's just on the street at CSM. And I dyed it, and now I'm just wanting to put it in to a weave sample. So there's a couple broken threads, so I'm just like putting them back through the shafts so then I can re-tie them on. Quite annoying when people leave the looms like this and you have to fix it all. Normally you have your own loom, so you don't have to deal with this situation, but in this project it's more like experimental, so we have different materials and different looms to test out to see what we like. The project is materials for change, so we're trying to come up with new innovative ways of using materials, come up with new materials, new processes. My colour palette's just based on like industrial, like London buildings, quite grey, blue. So originally I wanted to do product design, but then I wasn't 100% sure, it wasn't feeling quite right. So I did a foundation year at my college at home, and then I tried textiles for the first time and absolutely loved it. The students that talked on the online talk were saying such like good things about it that I just took the leap and went for it anyway. I'm glad I did. All these yarns that I'm using for this project are like dead stock, or I found them like there's like bins around Knit and Weave where they have any that they don't want anymore. There's hanging up over there old warps, so when you finished you just rip them off and then people are free to use them so we could be more sustainable. I'm trying to use them up so I don't have to buy anything new. So I'm just doing some plain weave because I added some ends back in that broke, so I want to make sure they're all secure before I start weaving properly with my wadding. It's always a fight for the chairs. Okay, so my group chose to do noise pollution and like all about sound. So I'm doing a mixture of soundproofing samples and also samples that create sound, like therapeutic sound, to replace the like sound that can give you sensory overload. But we've got to leave them down because you don't know why. I used to get confused. I thought that was the resting position, but no, that's the resting position. Of this project, we had some talks and like a few different people who were like leaders in sustainability in our industry, and one which was so interesting was Carol Collette. She comes like a couple times a year to talk to textile students. It like really made me think, because she was saying you need your product to not only not harm the environment but actually give back to the environment. How can you use invasive species in your work? Like, could you use the shells from an invasive species of shellfish in your work, and you're helping the local ecosystem by taking them out of the environment. So it's important that we have projects like this one, because it's not just about the design and like it looking pretty. You've got to actually think about the materiality, how much textile waste ends up in landfills. Like 75% of all textile waste, and it's quite easy to recycle textile waste if you make it in the right way, which is what we're learning. Nothing about this stuff before I came to this course, so I'm glad I'm learning it now. We have our own dye rooms, and we've got Florence, who's a specialist with like natural dyes. She has her own indigo dye vat, which is like her baby. She feeds it every day to like make sure it's at its prime. She said you could actually drink it, which it doesn't smell like it would taste nice. We've got specialists like that who can help us with like things like natural dyeing because of how much of the industry is synthetically dyed and how much that pollutes the waterways. The bits and bobs I made in a workshop with Orla, who's a graduate from textile design and the weave pathway. She does things with like plaster and like different materials, that incorporating them with textiles in a really interesting way. So I was really excited to get to do that workshop. Something that I do like about CSM is they like encourage like us to learn endangered craft. We have a guest lecturer called Libby Ashdown, and she's one of I think only 3 remaining passementery artists in the UK, and taught us how to make tassels. There's always workshops, always extra things you can sign up to. So that's my day done. Thank you for spending the day with me.